Hi, Demi here. Now today it appears that EA is playing, of course, the blame game. Now what do I mean by this? Well, they're blaming the failures of Battlefield 2042 on other stuff. It obviously can't be EA's fault. So we're going to get into this, find out what is going on. Now let's get into it. Okay, so I want to read the title. Report: EA executives blame Halo, COVID for Battlefield 2042's failures. While the game having been out for 3 months now, things are far from improving. A report on X5 says that EA executives recently had an internal town hall meeting where not only the game described as a miss, but a number of reasons were put forward for its climacterious launch in order to try and plot a path out of the mess. First up, here's the kind of admission you see very often in this industry that games on the scout, even if it's an internal meeting. Laura Marie, EA Chief of Studios Officer, led the discussion on Battlefield 24, acknowledging EA's wider success, both past and present, but said it's really important to acknowledge when we have misses. Yes, this is definitely a miss. Melee continued, this is certainly the case of the Battlefield launch. Yes, it is. Which failed to meet expectations for our players and also clearly missed our own expectations. Sorry, I got tongue-tied there. Moving on to factors blamed for the launch woes, Melee, I cannot pronounce your name correctly, but nevertheless, cites everything from the aging Frostbite engine. They're still using Frostbite engine? Alright. The Frostbite version they wore on was so old that they had to go back and update. So it's basically putting the game on a new engine to the pandemic. Kind of lazy excuse if you ask me, but okay, nevertheless. And the global pandemic halfway into the project, where the game teams had to work from home, we ended up with more new variables in development than we ever experienced before, to bug count which was at historic levels for a DICE game. One final and very funny reason Melee still cannot pronounce her name, so please forgive me on that, is Halo Infinite, a game that is not Battlefield 2042, which came out around the same time and apparently created a comparison for multiplayer shooter fans that was not favourable because Halo Infinite was a very polished title, whereas Battlefield 2042 contained bugs and wasn't as polished, and who knows, it probably had voice chat. I don't know, I don't play Halo Infinite. Some of these factors, like the pandemic, are completely understandable. To be fair, even though it says it's understandable, it's still a lazy excuse. I just want to make that clear. It's a lazy excuse. Forza Horizon 5 was made in the pandemic. It wasn't as bad as this game. In fact, it was pretty good. Others, like troubles with the Frostbite engine, I have less sympathy with since it's EA's own engine. Yeah, that's very, very true. And bringing up Halo, a game that has its own problems, is very funny. What's interesting here is seeing an EA executive provide this handy list of things to blame for the game's busted launch, and none of those things involve EA executives. Sure, everything brought up aside from Halo was affected in the game being confused or undercooked or buggy, but the decision to push and release the game into late 2021 regardless wasn't made by the people making it, it was made by the people selling it. Now I want to break this down. The COVID excuse, the pandemic, that it was made during the pandemic. It's not our fault. Well, there were many other games that came out during the pandemic, and they weren't bad. They weren't buggy. Many of them were good, like Forza Horizon 5. So lazy excuse EA, and I am not an EA game changer because A, I'm too small, and B, I'm never gonna sell out to EA. So yeah. And second thing, the whole, it's Halo's fault. Halo came out the same time as our game. We just couldn't compete against Halo. Yet again, lazy excuse. You're blaming Halo because your game sold poorly. Yeah, Halo Infinite, as far as I know, it's free. It doesn't still excuse. You have dedicated fans. They're going to buy your game if Halo releases at the same time or not, which many of them did. However, they refunded the game because bugs, features that are necessary for this game that were considered legacy by EA, and many, many other internal problems. One being maps too big. The maps were far too big and you had to run like halfway across the map just to get into a gunfight. There is a whole list of problems with this game. Way too many for me to talk in this video, But yeah, there were a lot of design decisions made that just didn't work or were unpopular with the customers, so many customers refunded. And the reason why I think Halo is a lazy excuse is, as you may have known if you watched my short yesterday, Battlefield fans are not going to Halo, they're going to Battlefield 5. They're going to an older Battlefield game because they're just sick and tired of Battlefield 2042. If it was Halo, they'd all be jumping ship to Halo. But they're not jumping ship to Halo, they're jumping ship to Battlefield 5. Which says a lot, especially when Battlefield 5 had its own controversy for having women in World War II with hooks for hands and that were lesbians and stuff. But I'm not going to get in that falls under politics. It is stupid, and I think EA is just shifting the blame because they don't want to realize they stuffed up. Anyway, please let me know what you thought about this video. Do you also think EA stuffed up? Let me know in the comment section down below. As well, if you haven't yet, please like, subscribe, and comment down below. And hit the bell for notifications, because that is the only way you'll know if I upload videos. Anyway, I'll see you all later this week. There are more videos planned for this week. I just want to say that. We have, I think, 2 more planned. So, I will see you next time. This is Demi, as always, signing out.